Offseason can turn giants into myths, and myths into mortals. They're the long pauses between battles, the stretches where legends are questioned, doubted, and sometimes forgotten. And for Nikola Jokić, the reigning face of Denver's dynasty that never was, this offseason has been less about parades and more about payback. Because if there's one thing scarier than Jokić in rhythm, it's Jokić with a reason. A year ago, he was untouchable. The Joker, a two-time MVP turned Finals MVP. The big man who had torn through Anthony Davis, dismantled Jimmy Butler, and laughed his way to the top of the basketball world. His game was poetry disguised as chaos. He didn't jump high, he didn't run fast, and yet he dismantled defenses like they were nothing more than a child's puzzle. His basketball IQ was called generational. His passing was called extraterrestrial. His dominance was called inevitable, but inevitability is fragile in the NBA. Last season, it shattered. Denver walked into the playoffs thinking their crown was secure. Jokić looked every bit the player he had been the year before, dropping 40 one night, 20 assists another, stuffing stat sheets like it was a personal insult to leave a column empty. But in the end, it wasn't enough. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves pushed the Nuggets to the brink and then shoved them over it. And in that moment, Jokić wasn't celebrated as the most dominant player in the world. He was criticized. Out of shape, too casual, not enough urgency. People whispered what they never would have dared in 2023. Maybe Nikola Jokić wasn't built to last. For a man who doesn't care about attention, that noise should have faded, but Jokić remembers everything. He's the quiet kind of competitor, the one who doesn't chase cameras, but doesn't forget disrespect. The Joker laughs, but the laughter is sharper when he's been slighted. And when the Timberwolves sent Denver home, when Joel Embiid finally claimed his MVP after years of falling short, when pundits said Jokić didn't look like the most conditioned player on the floor, something shifted. This wasn't about losing. Jokić had always been a good sport. This was about pride. Jokić knows his own history. He was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. He spent years being mocked for his body. A fat kid from Serbia who looked like he should be pumping gas, not dropping dimes. For every beautiful pass, there was a snide comment about his conditioning. For every triple-double, there was a shrug about his lack of flair. Even after winning it all, even after delivering Denver its first championship, critics still circled, can he do it again? Does he care enough? Is he the kind of leader who can sustain a dynasty? And this summer, Nikola Jokić decided to answer those questions the only way he knows how. Without words, without commercials, without dramatic declarations. By turning himself into something scarier than the best player in the world, a best player with something to prove. History tells us what happens next. LeBron James, humiliated in 2011, came back the following year more ruthless, more surgical, more unstoppable. Michael Jordan, bullied by the Pistons, built his body into steel and finally broke through in 1991. Shaquille O'Neal, tired of being labeled a regular season monster who flamed out when it mattered, came into the 1999 season in the best shape of his life and ripped the league apart. The greats are defined not by their peaks, but by responses to humiliation. Jokić is standing at that crossroads now. There's a different fire in him this time. In Serbia, they say revenge is a dish best served cold. But for Jokić, revenge isn't cold. It's quiet, methodical, inevitable. You can see it in his training, in the sharper movements, and the reports of him staying longer in Denver than usual. The man who spent the last few summers riding horses back home is now mixing that with an intensity in the weight room. Not for show, not for pictures, for war. Because Jokić knows what's at stake. He isn't just fighting for another MVP, another championship, another ring. He's fighting for his place among the immortals. Think about it. Jokic's resume is already stacked. 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP, the most unstoppable passing big man the game has ever seen. And yet, there's a gap. One of his rivals are quickly filling. Giannis has 2 MVPs and a ring. Curry has 4 championships. Embiid, his eternal counterpart, has the MVP and is desperate for more. Tatum is younger, already reaching the finals repeatedly. The league is full of wolves, and for once, they're circling Jokić. And that's why the season feels different. It isn't about conditioning anymore. This isn't about weight or speed or vertical. The real transformation is mental. Jokić has always been content with letting the game come to him, but revenge doesn't wait. Revenge hunts. And for the first time in his career, Nikola Jokić is hunting. Look back at the Timberwolves series. Look at the pain etched on his face as the buzzer sounded and Denver's title defense crumbled. That wasn't exhaustion, that was fury. Look at the way he refused to speak about it in detail afterward. Silence had always been his weapon, but silence doesn't mean apathy. Silence means calculation. When Jordan was punched down by Detroit, he hit back with muscle. When Kobe lost Shaq, he rebuilt himself into a ruthless leader. When LeBron melted in 2011, he forged himself into the most complete player the league ever seen. Now, it's Jokic's turn. The scary part? His revenge won't come through shouting, through viral clips, or through dramatic interviews. It'll come in the most Jokić way possible. Slowly, steadily, unstoppably. Possession by possession, quarter by quarter, until one day, you look up at the scoreboard and your team is down 20 while Jokić already has 28, 14, and 12, and you don't even remember how it happened. That's the kind of revenge only he can serve. And the league knows it. Coaches know it. Players know it. You don't poke the Joker. Not because he'll laugh you off, because he'll dismantle you brick by brick until all you're left with is regret for ever crossing him. This isn't the Jokić of 2021, happy just to be an MVP. This isn't the Jokić of 2023, surprised by his own finals run. This is a man who's been told, even after everything, that he's not enough, that Giannis is hungrier, that Embiid is finally ready, that Anthony Edwards is a new face of the West, that Denver's window might already be closing. And if history has taught us anything, it's this. Nikola Jokić doesn't just take notes of disrespect, he weaponizes it. So when the season tips off, don't be fooled by the soft eyes, the relaxed shoulders, the man who looks more like your neighbor than the most dominant player in the league. Because underneath all that calm is a storm that's been building since Minnesota sent him home, since analysts crowned others above him, since the league decided to test whether Nikola Jokić still cared. The answer is clear. He cares. He's coming, and he's bringing revenge with him. The greats always have that one season, the one where it isn't about stats, or awards, or even the game itself. It's about answering critics, shutting mouths, burning narratives to the ground. For Jordan, it was 1991. For Shaq, it was 2000. For LeBron, it was 12. For Jokić, that season is now. Revenge isn't loud. It isn't flashy. It doesn't need to be. Revenge is watching the man you doubted walk past you, smiling after he just ended your season. Revenge is the scoreboard that doesn't care about your excuses. Revenge is Nikola Jokić, the Joker finally being tired of being underestimated, ready to rewrite what dominance looks like. And when he does, no one will be laughing anymore, except him.